Well, I'm hoping that this will complement the little audio note that I posted to the system at the weekend. What you should be able to see on screen now is the mise file that I put into the digital Dropbox, and all that I have done is to open that in Word. Now, if you notice as you look at the toolbar in Word, in addition to the regular features, I've got metatexis there, and I've also got a copy of another translation memory program that I know that one of you is going to use, called WordFast. So if I wanted to translate this document with the help of metatexis, all that I need to do initially is to bring up the metatexis menu, and then if I go to File, you'll see that the first option on that File menu is Launch the Start Assistant. And it asks me if I want to translate the document with the help of metatexis, which I do. And it's now going to take me through a series of screens. And essentially what we're going to do on these screens is tell metatexis what our source and target languages are. And we're also going to tell the program which translation memory file to use and which terminology database file to use. So if I just click on Next, you can see here that I have selected French as my source language and UK English as my target. I click on Next, and here it's basically saying, okay, what translation memory do you want to use? Now, it's at this point that if you're wanting to try my mise file with my translation memory and terminology database files, you would need to go to the Select button. What you're going to be loading is a local database file, and then you simply select the translation memory file and the terminology database file, and they will be wherever you downloaded them to when you took them from the digital Dropbox. Normally though, you're going to be using your regular translation memory and terminology database files, and these are usually to be found, as I've mentioned, on C drive. If you go to Program Files and you go to the folder called metatexis, you'll see that you've got a variety of folders here, including a databases folder. One of them contains translation memories, so I would choose that. And the TDB folder contains, or would contain, a terminology database if I had one in there. Now, when you normally run the metatexis installation program, it creates normally that new metatexis folder in the program files folder, and it creates the databases folder, and that's where I suggest you systematically put any translation memories and terminology databases. It's important that you know where they are. Right, so I just carry on here and select Next. So I would select or indicate the location of my terminology database. There's then provision for translator info, and notice the action here. I'm going to select Start Translating Step by Step. one of the other features, as you'll see there, is to pre-translate the complete document. Notice also that the metatexis has created a new file. It's got my original file name, mise.fr, and then in brackets metatexis.doc. In other words, it's not working on the actual source file, it's working on a copy. Notice here metatexis knows that WordFast is also active, and it's saying, would I like to deactivate it? So I will. Now you can see what has happened here. The text is segmented, so it picks up the first segment, the first French segment, and you can see that miser sur les franco-allemandes. And then what it does automatically is to search the translation memory to see whether that segment has previously been translated. And as I think I mentioned to you, it has. I have already done this translation. So for each of the segments here, we should find an exact match. And you can tell that the match is exact because it appears on a white background. And the way then that we use metatexis is simply to step through the source text segment by segment, and where it doesn't find an exact match, it will come up with what is called a fuzzy match. So it may not be 100% the same, but it could be 80%, 60%, in which case the background color changes. So you've got some visual indication of how close the translation is to the original. And then if you notice up here, you've got a series of arrows, and this is how we're going to work our way through the text. So I'm going to select the fatter of the downward pointing arrows, go to the next translation unit to be translated. Notice that you've got keyboard shortcuts for this as well. So it moves to the second segment. It has found an exact match. We shouldn't be surprised, as I've just mentioned. The whole document has been translated. Notice, incidentally, that above the French source has been taken out and replaced with the English translation. So it's just a matter of working through the document segment by segment. If it doesn't find a match, then it simply leaves the target language box empty, and that's where you would type in your translation. And at the end, when you have finished translating the document, so you can see what has happened here. It's gone through the whole document and simply substituted all the English translated segments for the French ones. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm a little anxious that these files are going to get too big for me to copy up onto my server. But what I want to do in a few moments is a number of you have asked how you actually view the contents of your translation memory and your terminology databases, and I just wanted to show you how that's done.